Oh no! A triangle shirt!
Rocco's Modern Life.
Whoa. Where am I? Narnia? No. Terra Brasilis. Tell me, boy. What's your team? But I don't have a soccer team. But you could be lying. The idea of a new world in the middle of a war could be wonderful if the book tells you that you could be the chosen one. Who wouldn't want to be the guy everyone recognizes? Who has the power to end a war? Everybody wants to be a winner. The problem is, that doesn't exist. We wouldn't survive a zombie apocalypse, fights against mutants, or magical wars. Chosen ones don't exist. And this idea that someone can be better just because they are stronger just causes more attacks and more death. Excuse me, brother. What's your religion? But I don't have a religion. Ah. But you should have one. I know, it's not a new trope, and it's not automatically bad. Unfortunately, as every trope, you need to use it well. That isn't the case of Athlas. The cover shows two skydivers in front of a warrior with fangs holding another up, whose eyes disappear in blackness and are confusing because they are behind the title. On the back, two other warriors fight, though I understand if you haven't seen the one being attacked until now. Lastly, we have a last one fallen with a spear through his heart. And against what would he be leaning? No matter! There's something in front of it! It's the tall grass rule. If it's not shown, it's automatically correct. The green one is kinda limping as if he had been hurt, though there are no visible wounds and that doesn't happen during the story, while the blue one seems slightly optimistic, as if they had been able to escape their problems. Oh, sorry, but behind you. That's before considering that his left leg is obviously broken or at least twisted. Maybe that face is due to him having no choice but to lean on his friend, even if he's hurt. I can't tell if you can stand, but it is going to be much easier if you stop stepping on your own foot. And we have to talk about what's behind them. We have scenes details, like the background suggesting they are on a beach and turning blue, but people along the way still fight. Are they fighting in the water? This kinda happens in the story, but I don't see any ships. At the same time, the two fights are between people wearing the same colors. Bluish silver on the left, yellow in the back on the right. This could be random, of course, but it looks like two factions fighting internally, instead of one against the other, up to the legs. On the right, we don't have the attacked enemy's left leg, but maybe he's still falling? Up high, we don't have the legs of the dude being held, which would have to be rigid not to be shown through the guy in blue's armpit. And finally we have the amazing power of dislocating a femur without falling. Oh, he ate the femur on me! And someone might say the pencil coloring would be inferior, but I personally like the result. It isn't the feeling of personal you get with Lemtich, but it doesn't distract too much. The sky's blue and the green and yellow on the ground could be better done, but other than that, it doesn't seem bad to me. We start with some horrible perspective. Look, I understand that quite a bit of independent publications require people doing things that aren't their specialties. It's understandable that things here and there are less than perfect. But the lane is seen from a high angle, while the plane is on an angle not as high, and the characters are on the foreground without angle. Or, to put it simply, if you can't do the scene the way you want, adapt. Excuse me, but Marvel or DC? All of them? Hell No, Captain America! Move! Oh, and this line comes before this one. Why not separate them more? It's not like you don't have the space. Basically, these two, Alex and Enzo, go on that small plane to skydive into the Bermuda Triangle. And it isn't explicitly said, but the way they talk about it, it seems to suggest they left Brazil on the plane to go to Bermuda. I can't believe this, Bermuda. Shouldn't this be two sentences? Or is Bermuda one of their last names? How did you have this idea? I study, boy. The place is perfect, and it's full of chicks down there. Meaning, they seem not to know the place and seem not to have gone to Bermuda before, so they flew from Brazil to Bermuda ready to jump? This gotta be the least fuel-consuming engine I've ever seen. Or did they travel to Bermuda and one of them still didn't know where they were going? And how does he know it's full of chicks down there if they're cloud high? Even if he had a spyglass looking straight down, wouldn't they fall in Bermuda or close enough not to be the mysterious area the book suggests this to be? All that not considering the pilot suggests they might not know they were near the Bermuda Triangle. The guy who studies doesn't know about the Bermuda Triangle. Huh. They are hit by lightning, despite the sky showing few clouds. They should have checked the manual. Great minions! And the fall takes them to a whirlpool of tornadoes, but they fall in a hole on the water beside one of the tornadoes instead of between them? What? They survive and a wave takes them to the beach, where they see the plane was brought up and go looking for the pilots. Something I must comment and has probably become obvious by now, these panels get dark out of nowhere. Too many lines, I think. This had shown up on the plane already, where every little detail on the background was drawn. It seems to be a matter of translation. When you are coloring something, the lack of lines leave a part without color. When it's black and white, lack of lines doesn't always indicate emptiness, so there's no need for this. And is he doing the same pose as Otaru? Besides, these smudges are a horrible choice. Again, it's an issue with translation. When using colored pencils, like on the cover, you can use slightly different shade and say, there's a bit more here. In black and white, it's yes or no. So the characters look like they're sunburned, a bit unshaven, or face painted with Deadpool's mask. Not that being unshaven is a problem. Well, after seeing the pilot is dead in a micro scene without any emotion, the ships that aren't on the cover show up and whoa! If you hadn't understood what I meant with too many lines, the whole scene is a sequence of dirty images. The lines on the wood are pretty, but here they just get confused with the characters' lines. The artist also has various moments of strange proportions. For instance, on this panel we have a monster with giant hands, but Enzo also has hands bigger than his own head. And the way the lines are, it almost seems like they're wearing Iron Man's armor. Or how about a panel where the action lines are inverted? It looks like Enzo is flying backwards and pulling the sword, doesn't it? This kind of problem, at least, I saw in just one panel. In fact, outside the darkness of the excess lines, I could leave these things aside. However, something I can't leave aside is the joking around. These two don't stop talking, even when they have nothing to say. And these moments are filled with unfortunate little jokes. Some of these can have some news, like calling an uppercut a shoryuken, or one of them being called Captain America for having a shield. That is, referentialism. But the vast majority feels like pure padding. Finally, the invaders decide to withdraw, but one of them decides to take Carl Brunner to hell? Okay. Enzo yells to warn the guy being attacked, after he noticed himself. Huh? And Alex impales the monster, throwing a spear through his chest, while Enzo takes him away from there, ready to make air quotes. The two are taken prisoners. Dude, look at the sky. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I'd think it's weird too if somebody used an eraser on the sky. Finally, the king is going to see them, after they get beaten because Alex didn't shut up. Thanks, Extra. Thanks. But then, this question comes to mind. If the author knows that the characters are talking too much, why does he let them talk too much? Saying that they are talking too much does not make them less annoying to the reader. Excuse me, but PS4 or Xbox One? None? They're also expensive. king sees him and asks what happened. What happened was like this: we were flying and we were going to skydive when suddenly we're hit by lightning, and then everything shook, and then the fog came, bam, hit again. At the end we ended up on the beach, and then the pilot died, and after that it was a free-for-all. Did you feel that something was missing? Yeah, me too. Action lines just indicate motion. They don't even mean we're doing something particularly fast necessarily. This sequence desperately needs some onomatopoeias and or reactions to Alex. The worst about this is that this could be a moment of levity after something serious. It could be a bit of a rest for the reader, but since the character doesn't stop making jokes, it's just another moment of annoyance. The author seems to want to do something like, but that works because despite being a bunch of words loosely put together, in the rest of the episode, El Chavo makes sense. It's a break from the rest. Here, Alex makes jokes and now makes jokes. There's no break, so there's no way of being different from the rest of the story. The king says they're lying pigs, trying to trick him, to which they comment, "Whoa, has the Pasadena refinery scandal reached them?" Huh? You know, there is a big difference between making a joke to lessen the pain and just making a joke out of everything. Excuse me, but PT or PSDB? Neither! You have to hear each candidate's plans. The king starts his exposition about their enemy being the Archalocs, with apostrophe S for the same reason that Athlas has an H, I guess, which are led by a human. Alex says they are the Minoics, Atlantis' lost people, and that he's been familiarizing himself with them slowly. It got so dark all of a sudden. But anyways, Atlantis was never mentioned before, so Alex knows this because the script said so. Excuse me, friend, but hot or cold? Cold, cold, cold too. How dare you light a flame! In the end, the king accepts to help them get back to our world. And someone presented as the wisest dude among the Atlantis says there are 3 gems used to open a portal, and they would have to recover one of them that was stolen by the human enemy, who uses it to transform his troops into Archalocs, so they can have a chance of going back 2 years later. And no, the problem of having to wait for 2 years doesn't last a page and a half. The two present themselves as former lieutenants of special forces, they have a party in their honor, the king presents his wife and daughter, which the comic doesn't show. Enzo falls in love with someone, though the comic doesn't say with whom, so maybe it isn't even one of the two being presented. And the last page presents the enemy, Mr. Heike, being informed of the defeat and saying his troops are worthless. I really wanted to like Athlas. When the author was there selling his comic, he was so enthusiastically talking about it, he actually talked too much about the story, but that doesn't mean that the story is good. It's a standard human in a strange place story. The main characters are more interested in making little jokes than being a part of the story, and won't shut up, and the world itself doesn't get the development it should. You could replace Atlantis for any other place. This is a big problem in Brazil. Things are done without concern for them being well done. The only thing that really seems well thought out is having military personnel in this situation, but what else in the story seems to have been well thought out? End of the day, we have to stop consuming lazily and just putting out copies. There's a lot of shit in the world already. We can pretend that those stories that are known for being bad are just accidents, or we can learn from them. Either we continue inside there and make something similar no one will notice is bad because of the context, without worrying who we're making scratch themselves without knowing why. Or we come out here and use what we got as fertilizer to grow something better. Green ghosts come out to socialize. Green ghosts come out to socialize. Okay, English. Oh no! A triangle shirt! Is that it? Is that how I did it? I suppose. Can't really think of anything else, come to think of it. I didn't even remember I had balloons. Apparently I had balloons. You will also notice I'm not wearing the same shirt, but the other one I just couldn't make it work, so I got the closest I got and went with it. But let's go. No, I don't think that's it. Okay, now I have to do everything again in English. I just farted, but I can't move. Otherwise, I'll have to do this again. But I don't have a team. Shouldn't this be 2 sentences? Or is Bermuda?